Right, ladies. For anyone that wants to consider the inner critic, the voices that cause you to self-sabotage, overeat, or struggle with diet, exercise, sticking to any kind of routine in life, then you may want to listen to what I will talk about. Yeah? Great. Very nervous right now. I feel like I'm in church. Noises just gone down. Or school assembly, you're all sitting on the floor. Does it? Not allowed on the benches. Oh. Okay. Thank you, ladies, for sticking around and staying here to listen to me. I am the owner of this gym, and I also coach women through their struggles in life, whether that's relationships, leaving domestic abuse, or just helping you manage diet, nutrition, weight loss, so you never feel like you're losing control and spiraling. So I'm currently studying to be a counsellor and did compassionate inquiry by Gabor Mate. And the whole purpose of what I do is to try and get you to stop feeling like a victim in your life and being stuck by the stories that you continue to tell yourself, whether that's you always fail at dieting, or you can't seem to stick to a routine, or you always fall off the wagon at the weekend, or when you have an argument, you're crying into your Ben and Jerry's, or just sat in bed eating a bar of chocolate or a bottle of wine. And it's just really unpicking where all that comes from so we can boost your self-esteem and give you tools that you can apply in the moment that helps you feel more relaxed and present in the moment, rather than stepping off the scales and going to the shop to buy loads of junk food because it's not showing you what you want. So one of the things that I'm working on at the moment is the voices in your head. That person, the voice that tells you you're not good enough, or you're failing at what you're trying to change in your life, or work's getting stressful, so you must resort back to getting the takeaway, binging on a Friday or Saturday, and drinking the wine. Some of the techniques that I use is just calling out what's going on in your head and saying how you feel, naming the emotions, and using breath work to give you that control back. Because in that moment when we're stressed or losing our shit or feeling upset, it's so easy for us to just self-sabotage by defaulting to our habits. And that's ultimately what I do. I help you recognize those behaviors, the thoughts, and the habits that you've grown up and survived with. And a lot of people that struggle with food and weight loss, it stems from your childhood, whether you realize that now in this moment or not. So many of us were told to finish what's on our plate. If you don't eat your dinner, you'll go to bed hungry. Junk food was very limited. And then for a lot of women, once you left the home, it was endless possibilities. You could buy and eat whatever you want. So anything that felt like it was restricted, even with love and attention from your parents, you found ways to cope and get through your childhood. And as you became an adult, your default was always those behaviors. Is all that making sense right now? Yeah? So one of the things that I get my ladies to do is just recognizing that voice. If your head's constantly going, I'm not good enough, I'm a failure, I feel shit, it's just saying it, because the reality is often it's not true. You know, there's many areas in your life where you are not a failure. You're showing up daily to your job, being a parent, being a partner, being a sister, being a friend, and just getting on with the day. That's not somebody who's failing at life. It's just somebody that's just trying to get through, putting on a mask and doing their best. And that's where a lot of the negative behaviors will come in, because you get home, you want to shut the doors, you need to download, de-stress, and if you've got kids, you're probably not even getting that. You can't even go to the toilet by yourself without somebody begging for your attention. And I don't know if you've all got children, but once they leave home, we then have the what's next. What do we do? We've lost our identity, we feel lost, and still those coping mechanisms with food, alcohol, bad relationships, people in your life show up again. So once you've named that voice or what's going on in your head, or you've written it down, what do you do with it then? If you let that continue, you're more than likely going to eat, drink, go to the gym, push yourself harder, keep working, or distract yourself another way. How many of you do that? Constant distractions, just ignoring the emotions, not saying how you feel, pushing harder, okay? And this is where our nervous system gets overstimulated. It's too much. We live in a constant state of stress, fight, flight, or freeze, okay? This doesn't mean we're in control, okay? It means we resort to those behaviors that keep us feeling stuck, keep us feeling low in confidence, low in self-esteem, our self-worth plummets, and this is where my kind of work comes in. Because all of you here deserve to be here. You've got people that love you, and you can literally do anything you put your mind to, okay? When you have those moments where it's all too much and you get home, stressed out, your husband's breathing, it's too loud, he's pissing you off, the kids are eating, maybe you even annoy yourself when you eat. I am one of those people. I can't eat an apple without having to stop because the noise just gets to me. The best tool is taking a nice deep breath in, okay? But the breath has to be silent. And I want you all to try it now. So I want you to just relax your shoulders. And this is why this event is so great, because it started with the yoga, and you always have your breath at any moment. And the trick is not to make a sound when you inhale through your nose or when you exhale. I want you to do it so gently you do not feel the nose hairs move, because we've all got nose hairs, right? So I'm going to be quiet just for a moment, and I'd like you all just to take a nice deep breath in, relax in the mouth, so make sure the jaw's nice and loose, and exhale through the nose really slowly. And I know it feels uncomfortable. Now, who felt really awkward doing that? Like that you just couldn't relax or switch off your mind? No, you all found that okay? No? Don't want to say? Whose head went quiet, or was it just full of all these words, sentences, voices going on? Did you leave the cook on? What you got to do when you get home? Okay. This is your best tool to help you take back control. Before you go and buy that junk food or pour that glass of wine or shout at your husband or lose your shit at the kids, or they push your buttons because they know what to push. Take that moment, because it's often other things in your day that are really stressing you out and that are bothering you, and you've not said anything. We are responsible for our emotions and what we choose to do. And we often get stuck and struggle when it comes to diet and exercise, because we're letting all these other things distract us. And that's one of the best things about mindset or therapy or journaling or gratitude that you could ever take from these kind of sessions. Being able to acknowledge the emotions that are showing up. So if it's anger because you've had a shit day at work, acknowledge it. Take that deep breath and just acknowledge that you feel anger, but it's not yours, and there's something that you could do instead. The cake is not going to solve that anger. The cake and alcohol is not going to take away the frustration or the sadness. And the more times you practice this, the easier it becomes. Does all that bit make sense so far? Okay. I'm also working with some women on body image problems and disordered eating, which ties into the voices in your head and how stressed we all get. And one of the tools that I've given them is to name that inner critic. So if you're somebody that always believes you're not good enough, or no matter what you try, you're still going to fail, if those are the thoughts that are constantly going in your head, give it a voice. Is it something you heard from someone growing up? Is it your mom constantly criticizing you because you always looked big, or she just never satisfied with how you looked because ultimately she was unhappy with how she looked? Is it your partner who just digs at you? Name the voice, or you can just make it sound like Daffy Duck. Okay? When you give that voice in your head a name, it takes away the power a little bit, or a silly voice, it means less to you because you've actually given it an identity. It's no longer yours. That's the theory behind that sort of work. And it's just naming it when it shows up. You can acknowledge it and say, oh, hi, Alan, here you go again. Not today, thank you. It's not mine. Yeah? Am I making sense, or is that a little bit too far out? No, I like the Daffy Duck one because it just completely diminishes whatever's going on in my head. And it is hard for me. I might be stood up here before you lot, but I've left an abusive relationship. It's most of my adult life. And you just never felt good enough because those are the words that they would always say, not what I believed. And it chips away at your self-confidence and self-esteem. And that's what I love doing with women. It's making you believe in yourself, taking away the power from those words, and just giving you the tools that help you make better decisions so you feel in control. Okay. So I'm going to wrap that up nicely, hopefully. Tools that you can use to help you when you want to do the weekend binge, or you want to self-sabotage, or you're just feeling a little bit shit, is to either write or say how you feel. If you've got that inner critic going on and the voices in your head are just making you feel even worse, name it or give it a little silly voice. And breathe. So slowly. That was a fly, by the way. I wasn't just grabbing something there. Breathe slowly. Okay, there's so many breath work tools out there, but the easiest one is just a slow, long inhale, long exhale, without making a sound, without letting those nasal hairs move. And hopefully you'll feel calmer, you'll have more clarity, and you'll be able to make a better choice and respond in a more adult way where you're in control. Yeah? Okay. We're going to have a little break now. That's all really I wanted to say. And if you want to follow me, it's at D60 Coaching. We're going to break for some food because I'm sure you all just need to get up and move now and get off the floor, have a little drink, and then we're going to come back at, is it 12:30? Yeah, we've got Elle who's going to talk about running. So grab your food and then just gather back around here. And then Elle's going to be discussing running and what you can do to help yourself not feel pain or rehab any injuries that you may have. And then we'll go from there. Okay. Thank you, ladies. Thank you.